Namaste, Soul Family, Sky Goddess, and coming at you with Pluto's transit in the frequency of Capricorn, which began 2008. That was the beginning of the first 12-year cycle, and will, continue its transit in this frequency of Capricorn, El Capricorn, until 2024. Okay, so, that's a long transit there. And that is why it is so powerful whenever it does shift frequencies. Pluto ruled, ruling the frequency Scorpio, that frequency of death and transformation, flowy, though still waters that run so deep. So there is a major transformation. So Scorpios, they're dramatic in their own way, okay, but in a transformative sense that gets you thinking, okay, and that really gets to the core, that really hits a nerve. And so this dramatic transformation is taking place in the frequency of Capricorn. So you see how everything synchronizes. So we've got Capricorn in Aquarius, and Aquarius, and like I mentioned, Scorpio and Virgo. They are, very similar, and Leo, they are very similar in the way in which they shift, okay, and they, go with the flow. Those fixed, Scorpios and, and Aquarians, they're not as fixed. That and Leo too are not as fixed as Taurus. Taurus is, as a matter of fact, the most, fixed, because there is a most, okay? It's the most fixed of the fixed elements, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, because it's Earth. And Earth within itself is fixed in its own way, okay? And so there's a lot of fixed frequency surrounding Taurus and people bearing that strong frequency, very stubborn, like the bull, the ox, you know, firmly rooted, and that's why that frequency also embodies um, fixtures and foundations, norms and traditions, because they're fixed. Of all the frequency animals, the ox, the bull, is the most fixed, the most fixed. So we've got, okay, massive transformation, dramatic transformations, and deaths. In the workplaces, I spoke about that in that Saturn transiting Aquarius video. Transformations in the workplace. Some are now working at home. Okay, it's hot up in this biatch. Okay, so we got some people, they're now working at home. Their home is now their workplace. Okay, we got some people who no longer got a workplace. Their workplace is dead. It closed down because of bankruptcy and all of that, lack of business, patronage, support, all of that. So the workplaces, they're heavily impacted. Codependencies are, being impacted because, all right. So you had a supporter, okay? Now that supporter lost their job, you're affected as uh, a dependent, okay? We also have a rise in, dependence, okay? Because, more people desiring and more people needing support, okay? That's that Pluto in Capricorn, because, people have lost their jobs. They need support from the system, which is now changing and for the most part, crumbling down. Okay, that's the matrix, and people now, some people giving up drinking, some giving up smoking because, these are expenses, okay? You have people taking on codependencies, okay? You have people now beginning to smoke, like I explained about in that Saturn transit in Aquarius. Codependencies, toxicities being changed, okay? All right? So we've got um, Some people, taking on certain uh, bad habits now. They call them bad habits, drinking and smoking. And that's a past norm and belief. Like I said, Taurus and Pisces, they are similar. One is spiritual, one is physical. One is tangible, one that is intangible. Okay, so we've got changes where that is concerned. Changes in uh, what people are finding safety in now, what they're finding solace in, comfort. Okay, a transformation to what you're attached to, what's your toxic trait. A change. You picked up a new one, you killed that one, you ended toxicity, you're now so on and so forth toxic. But the belief system of a certain way of life is toxic, like smoking, especially marijuana or herbs, for example, that is being diminished. That is being changed. The physical structure of it is being changed, and that is because the spiritual structure, that is Pisces, has changed. As Pisces and its Neptune in its own frequency, Pisces. We got also deaths to your dependents. People who depend upon you. So that could be your children, that could be your spouse. Okay, maybe you lost them to freedom. Maybe they will receive some wealth throughout this COVID-19 pandemic and crisis, or up until then, or during this period until 2024, in which they will no longer need your support. We also, what, I'm gonna pause this video until that noise is sizzle down. Okay, I'm not gonna have that shit. Hold on, guys. Okay, let's continue if they'll let us. So, okay, another frequency to look out for with Pluto transit in Capricorn is people having a craving and a desire to use people. Okay, to use other people. A craving, a hunger for wealth. Okay, so you want to be very careful with your investments. You want to be very careful with the people who you associate yourself with, because there are going to be lots of crooked frequencies and energies, but of course there are going to be repercussions. There are going to be punishments for that, because there's still Saturn there, and there's going to be punishment on the subconscious. Okay, so those who have ill intentions and ill wills, there is a trap laid up there before you by the universe, as there always is. Okay, so there's gonna be, a greed, a spirit of greed, in other words, because where there is fear, there's also greed and wantonness. And so we know that because, with the mass, you know, unemployment, weight that is now upon the world and the system, a lot of people are gonna be, left out in the cold and left to fend for themselves, because these workplaces, a lot of them are killed, okay, in the line of fire. A lot of them are deaded. It's a new time. It's the time for science and technology, astrology, and originality. And therefore, there are going to be a lot of creative jobs, artistic jobs, jobs that, you create, at the spur of the moment, jobs that you just, randomly created by, inspiration of the spirit, or through some random epiphany. So there's going to be a lot of that, a transformation in the workplace. How work is, perceived. That's also a change to the systems. Taurus frequency, ox frequency, norms and traditions. Okay? So also, because of that, wantonness, people, there are going to be a lot of business and arranged marriages in which people will get married for wealth. People will, get, encumbered for wealth, or, for, to be looked up upon as honorary, that's also that Capricorn frequency. Okay. But, it's going to be a slightly, vain period in time in which people, they want bosses. Okay. Okay. And, therefore there's this whole, rise in arranged marriages and, business marriages, people marrying for wealth, prestige, honor, and, for comfort, for even work, for jobs, as a matter of fact, I should say. That's why I said business marriages. That's that Pluto in Capricorn. Okay. A lot of, also, you got to watch out for on the job affairs. That's also that Pluto in um, Capricorn. You can also be Saturn in Scorpio, but we're not in that transit now for Capricorn. Okay, but there's an air of secrecy with that Saturn in Aquarius, because Aquarians are also, somewhat discreet themselves. They're not with the in crowd. Okay, they're very eccentric, and in their own world, they're the water bear. They're that watery air sign. Okay, so they don't really judge anyone. They, you know, appreciate and embrace eccentricity. They embrace people being different. It's never scary or awkward to them. Okay? So we've got, on the job affairs here with that Pluto and Capricorn. Okay? Because like I said, people, they're gonna, want to keep their, jobs. Okay? They're gonna want to acquire jobs. And so people are gonna take a lot of sneaky, taboo, strange and awkward ways of attaining and achieving that. Scorpio, like Aquarius, they, are very taboo in nature. Okay, one that is airy, one that is watery. Okay, but they're both eccentric in their own element. Okay, and they deal with a lot of taboo frequencies, freaky, if you want to call it frequency. So that's the frequency of the workplace for you now. Okay, and that's where that, sex and transformation frequency is, being aimed and directed towards Capricorn frequency. So, that's a lot, to digest. That's a lot. Oh, I'm struggling to breathe because it's really hot. Okay, okay, okay. It's really hot up in this biatch. It's in the roof, and so as you guys can see, it's a zinc roof, and that's metal, and it's got me woozy like a. Okay, you fill in that gap. So, being, dehydrated, let me take a sip because, like, I'm really long winded and shit. But I need to still take a sip. Mm. Okay, another sip. Okay. I'm alive, life, 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 life. Okay, I'm alive. I'm just, trying to buy some time should in the event that I forgot to say something in regards to Pluto's transit in Capricorn. Because this is like the final video, and then I'm gonna go on to uh would surmise a weekly preview, okay, of the transit of the moon, okay, and its daily influence based on the frequencies and the degrees that it's transiting. So I want to start doing like weekly like horoscopes or horoscopes, but not really horoscopes. This is something more in depth and something that is more accurate. Let me just say that because moon in Leo is what it is, which is where the moon is today, and it is just what that is, okay. And so the messages, they may vary, but it is still moon in Leo, if you get my gist, okay. So I want to do that, and of course, I might do, I'm not gonna make any promises. I might do like videos in regards to the influence of the frequencies that were under with the Chinese astrology and the transit of the celestial bodies above us, the major ones. So I may do videos in regarding, or I might segment them videos based on their elements. Either way, you know. Also, for the Pluto in Capricorn, a lot of taboo jobs will be on the rise. So weird, I did I make mention of that? Weird and awkward jobs. That, I mean, the system is changing. What was, considered the norm in, what people do for work, and what was tradition and what was morally correct, that is being transformed and changed. It's like a wash through the concrete jungle, and only what is somewhat pure will remain, and all else that is unnecessary will just fade away. So a lot of different taboo jobs that are really eccentric and taboo and also mysterious, okay. So the occult, they could finally show their faces, and in this 12-year cycle, but only to those who are deemed worthy of being acknowledged by them, and vice versa, and being welcomed in. So that's a very taboo job, okay. So I'm getting a strong feeling of that as well, okay. A lot of jobs that are like I said, taboo, like sex jobs. So you're gonna have a rise in escort services, people. It's not literally sex, but using your sexual prowess. That's also Scorpio frequency, Pluto. Yeah, and also a rise in prostitution, okay? Because escorts, they're not prostitutes. Um, Traditionally, they're not prostitutes. I don't know what they are in this day and age. But traditionally, they're not prostitutes. They are, actually decent women who are unencumbered, and, you know, they offer, you know, a service of their time to, spend time with, certain noble or notable, masculine figures in society, like for example, accompanying them on dates or parties, private parties, and so on and so forth. So, and it doesn't necessarily or professionally entails a sexual encounter, but it is an intimate one nonetheless. Okay, but that is a whole different kettle of fish. Okay, other than prostitution, but That too, that is also Scorpio frequency. Okay, because even though, escorts, they've existed for a long time, let's be honest, it was not readily accepted or embraced by society. Okay, and that too, that's gonna change because, you know, what will a man give for, you know, um, in order to save his own soul? Um, a lot of people's morals and values are going to be questioned. In other words, a lot of people, are going to turn against their faiths, okay? Because, you know, they rather to feed their face. You feel me? Okay, so we got a lot of sex workers here, a lot of people, performing sexual intercourse for, uh, food and for money and for shelter, housing, and so on. It's really horrid, I'm telling you. Okay, it's really horrid, okay? And that's why it's good to save. Yeah. Also, a rise in, work for the morticians. Let me say that because it's gonna be, an era for the morticians and funeral directors and funeral home workers because let me tell you, okay, a lot of transformation taking place here. And like I said in one of them other videos, um, video, it's on all different scales and levels and for in every different form that you can think of death and transformation. There will be death and transformation, okay? On a grand scale. That's that Capricorn frequency. Okay, so we already, we've heard of the, mass death toll of the pandemic, okay? And there's still people who, are being impacted by it, affected by it greatly. You know, um, I don't know what these vaccines are gonna do, if they're gonna do anything. Who knows? Okay? Only time will tell. I will not speak on that. Okay, also, which, would obviously synchronize with everything else, a desire for people to be their own bosses and CEOs, okay? That's, that Pluto again in Capricorn, people desiring not just wealth, but desire, not just, people who are wealthy, but, desiring that for themselves as well. So it's a time to be eccentric, weird, and awkward. It's not a time to be a follow fashion. It's not a time to, blend in with the crowd because the crowd is pretty dumbfounded and oblivious as to what's going on here. Only a handful of people get the gist and will advance. Okay, so you just be yourself, get your natal chart read, discover what your purpose is, your true purpose is, um, what your destiny is, your fate is, the placements of the celestial bodies, you know, at the time of your birth, what that means for you. And I guarantee you that you will resonate with each and every one of them aspects and transits, and once you, discover that physical, yet intangible aspect of yourself, you're on your way to enlightenment. You're on your way to, setting the stage of bringing that to life. You are then a creator, an artist, you know. But it first starts with you discovering something about yourself that you never knew before. And for most of you, that's your natal chart. That's your diagram, your makeup. It's just like a circuit diagram, I would rather call it that, you know, really has a lot to do with your psyche, your mentality, and your spirit. And the outcome of that, your physical body. But it's really like a diagram, you know. So Hit me up if you guys want to have your natal chart read by me. Okay, don't have to be done by me, but if you want it to be done by me, okay, you can follow me on my Instagram. It's Sky Goddess Infinity Inc. That's SKYY Goddess Infinity. Y'all know how to spell them words, okay? Inc. INC. Okay, that's my username on Instagram. Okay, follow me there and DM me, okay, for a natal chart reading. Namaste.